Now, this year, much of the world has held its collective breath as Nelson Mandela, perhaps the most revered statesman of his age, has battled ill health. Now, an exhibition is opening here in London that hopes to do one thing: capture the story of Nelson Mandela's life. It's called We Love Mandela, art inspired by Madiba, and will include a range of works from painting to beadwork and even cartoons, all of which either feature or were inspired by the former South African president. Well, Natalie Knight is the curator of the exhibition, and Richard Stone is a portrait artist who has, in fact, painted Nelson Mandela. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Natalie. So something like more than 20 artists involved in this project. Obviously, the subject is Nelson Mandela, but in their varied works, are we seeing different windows into the man, if you like?
The works are so varied and the artists are so varied, and the experience that they've had is also because, for example, several of the artists who've been so very severely disadvantaged in the past have now had that opportunity of being able to express their feelings about Nelson Mandela. I mean, the overall theme is We Love Mandela, and so we know that that is what the artists are feeling. The artworks surrounding us relate to the 5 phases of his life, when he started off as a very young person who came up into the city, and he went through various phases of being an angry man, then having to face death.
And all of that is there reflected.
And that is all in the different artworks. But they're black artists, they're white artists, and they've got different experiences and different opportunities of learning how to create artworks.
And there's a poignancy, isn't there, that as we talk about this today, as you launch this exhibition, actually the man is, as we understand it, battling for his life.
Well, I think he's recovered physically now. He is old. I mean, 95 is not the man he used to be, but we were very relieved. We actually had a preview of the show on his 18th birthday at the Peacemakers Museum in South Africa, and he's okay now.
Richard Stone, you've had the, well, I can only call it a privilege, I guess, to have had Nelson Mandela sit for you, and you've created a portrait of him. Just describe what that process was like.
Daunting. In one word, just daunting. But daunting because he'd been the top of my wish list for many years. Daunting because he has this awesome reputation. And daunting because I actually wanted to give of my very best to pay respect to this man.
And we're looking at the painting right now, actually. Our viewers will be seeing them. Yeah, go on.
So to be sort of ushered into the presence, to be aware firsthand of this charisma. But how do you paint charisma? So it was over the course of the 6 one-hour sittings I had with him, when we were able to talk and relax in each other's company. I was then able to observe his features and be able to get to understand him, that we developed trust between us. And I think that led to an easygoing relationship and an openness. And never before have I encountered anyone who really has had their whole life's experience etched on their features.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Richard, because, I mean, without sort of sounding like I'm name-dropping, I interviewed him as a correspondent a number of times, and actually he was famously reticent. And I just wonder if, as an artist, you reach something in him that people like me, mere journalists, can't get to.
Well, I think there's an awful lot of luck in this business. I don't know whether the art, the actual fact he was sitting for a portrait, helped create an atmosphere that was conducive to him revealing more of himself. It's obviously my job as an artist not just to paint a likeness, but to reveal something of the spirit of the man. But I've been lucky enough to actually have painted many people who we had in common. So we could talk for some extended time about his close friendship with Archbishop Tutu, and I, in return, could talk about and reminisce about my time with him.
All right, and Natalie, one of the works, I don't think we're able to show it, but one of the works shows a scene that looks like the Last Supper. It's got Martin Luther King, it's got Mahatma Gandhi, but in the central position, where Jesus Christ would have been, is Nelson Mandela. Now, I think some people might find that rather provocative. I mean, you know, Nelson Mandela is a towering figure of moral authority, but he ain't a saint.
in fact, in Nelson Mandela's own words, he said, "I'm not a saint." And he's one of the people who've always said, you know, "I've made lots of mistakes." And I think that is part of his strength and charm, because he is so modest and so humble. But I've spoken to the artist, Dean Simon, as to why he created him in this format. Well, let's say why he used that composition. And he felt that at that point, Mandela, he was wearing his Khoza necklace, the necklace that he wore when he was actually sentenced. And he said that he was a rebel against the authority at the time, and he felt that there was something about him, something about his morality, that he felt he was entitled to be in this position. But he wasn't trying to make it that he is a saint, or that he isn't trying to deify him. He's saying that he is just an ordinary man.
Richard, just very briefly, again, as you said earlier, I mean, you must feel very lucky to have had that opportunity.
Unbelievably fortunate. I mean, it was challenging, but actually at the end of the day, it is probably the picture out of the past 40 years of painting many portraits, the one I'm most proud of.
Really, really?
Yes.
And you've, of course, done the Queen, you've done Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, I'd like to think that I've given my best, but the one that truly was the most challenging, because of the public expectation. This is what it is. They wanted me to reveal something of the soul of the man.
We're going to have to leave it there, but that in itself is a tribute. Richard Stone, Natalie, thank you very much. Thank you.